So my name is Abby Wells, and my top 5 themes of talent are: number 1 is input, number 2 is futuristic, number 3 is activator, number 4 is individualization, and number 5 is woo.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what were your initial impressions of the results you got from the StrengthsFinder assessment when you first took it?
Yeah.
And did those change over time as you got more familiar with this?
Absolutely, yeah. My initial impression, reading the words and just the initial description of what they were, there were a few surprises in a really positive way, things I didn't realize were strengths of mine. But for the most part, as I really got into the descriptions and then as I really observed my own behavior, I started to understand and see the connections. It was very, very true to who I was. So.
From now on, as I ask a question, you might have to give some context up front. Like,
Okay.
respond by saying, when I first told you, have to almost
Yeah.
tell the story.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
it gives it a little more.
Oh, because otherwise it'll be, okay, cool. Yeah.
Cool. So tell us about your mission experience. How do you feel like an awareness of your particular themes of talent could have helped you as a missionary, and perhaps
Totally.
dig into certain elements of the mission where it could have been especially helpful?
Totally, yeah. In fact, as I've learned more about my talents, looking back at my mission, a lot of things have made a lot more sense in terms of the way that I communicated. Yeah, please do.
Start off by saying, I serve the mission here.
Okay.
And I feel like strengths could really, as I've thought back on strengths,
Yeah.
I realized,
Totally.
give us like where you went.
Okay.
Maybe say, I went here, I love like
Yeah.
feelings about your mission. So
Okay, yeah. Just kind of like talk. Is that cool? Rather than answer the question. Is that okay? Okay. Hopefully it's not too rambling. I served my mission in Los Angeles, California, which was an amazing experience. I was working in the visitor center there and was Spanish speaking for part of it, English speaking for part of it. I worked in really affluent areas as well as less affluent areas. So really diverse people, diverse companions from all over the world. So that being said, looking back at my mission and now knowing what my personal strengths are has been really enlightening for me, because I learned a lot, obviously, on my mission about how I communicate. But even more so since then, as I look at my strengths and look at kind of the different needs that I have as well as the contributions I can make with those strengths, that's given me a really different perspective of a lot of those communication patterns that I saw in my mission. So had I learned those things before my mission, I think that I wouldn't have had as many difficulties trying to figure out how to communicate with certain companions. And that's the thing, is on a mission, you're not just communicating with companions, you're communicating with leaders in the church, you're communicating with your mission president and leaders in the mission. You're teaching people. And that's the biggest thing, is as a teacher, I think, to be able, and as a leader, to be able to understand your own strengths and then to be able to kind of identify other people's. You're able to see how they communicate, how they learn, and how you need to change the way that you teach things so that they can understand and really grow. And so that being said, had I understood kind of the concept of strengths as well as my own strengths, I think that I would have been able to better adapt to all the people that I was working with and trying to help on my mission. Definitely.
Can you go into the MTC experience? Just
Definitely.
explain, like, I taught at the MTC.
Yeah.
Here are some issues that I saw, some major challenges that I saw missionaries face.
Yeah.
And explain how you feel like if they would have had
Yeah.
those other themes, this would have been the result. This would have helped.
Totally. Yeah, so I taught at the MTC for about a year, just after my mission. And obviously that was an incredible experience as well in terms of understanding how I communicate and how I learn in the gospel and just how I learn and develop as a human. But had I understood as a teacher the themes of my students, or of the missionaries that were in my district, I can't even tell you how valuable that would have been, again, as a teacher. And keeping in mind that they themselves are teachers. So if they understood their own strengths, how they communicate, how they learn, what energizes them, I can only imagine the kind of effect that would have on their ability to connect with their investigators, with their companions, with their teachers, with their leaders, because they just have this understanding of the web of communication and kind of interconnectedness of humans. And I think as 18 and 19-year-olds now, they're still very much in that stage of figuring out who they are. And that kind of assessment would be really helpful to them, I think, as they're figuring out who they want to become, especially during that transformative period of time on their mission. how they can really develop those strengths and leverage them to become better servants, better tools, better instruments in God's hands. And that for me has been like such a testimony builder. Like as I really delve into these strengths and kind of using these assessments, using these man-made tools, right? I feel like it's really helped me to understand the gifts that God has given me, as well as kind of the calling that he's given me and how I'm supposed to use those to connect with his children and to help them come closer to him. So, yeah.
So just to wrap up, I don't know anything about strengths. Why should I care? Like, what value does knowing my themes and talent add to my life? How would you express that
Yeah.
in the most clear and concise, this is what it can do for you way?
Add to your life in general, or just like,
Yeah, like you can focus on whatever you want to.
okay.
But just say, somebody's like, "What about the strengths finder assessment?"
Yeah.
What is it? Like,
Yeah.
should I care? And you're just going to go, here's why you should care.
Yeah. Do you want me to explain kind of what it is? I'll just go. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, give us some
Okay.
context.
Cool.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
Here's what you should.
Totally. So the Strengths Finder assessment, from my perspective, is something that it's an assessment you take that can help you to identify your core strengths. And it's beyond just like things you're good at and talents you have, but like core strengths, things that energize you, things that are easy for you and difficult for you. And so that being said, for me in my life, I kind of mentioned this before, but it's really helped me to give a direction. Like because I understood my strengths last summer when I took the assessment for the first time, it led me to apply to a certain major, a certain minor, I guess, in the business school. And that has affected a ton, like that has completely influenced my career path, the direction I'm taking my life. It's also helped me to kind of shape my life mission. I'm 23 years old, so I'm sort of at that point where I'm figuring out what to do and where I need to be and where I need to be going in my life. So it's really helped me to identify, like I said, the strengths I need to keep building, the ways in which I can develop those strengths, as well as how to connect with others, how to communicate with others. I can ramble for a second longer, hang on.
What's different about the Strengths Finder assessment compared to other personality tests? Like what added value does it bring? Why is it
Totally. Yeah. I think most other personality tests that I've heard of are not nearly as in-depth. They don't give you the breadth and the depth of kind of an assessment of your personality. And it's not like, like the color test and things like that. I feel like they're a lot more generic, and it's really easy to put yourself into this kind of personality as opposed to like this kind of personalized combination of 5 core strengths, or whatever the test is that you take, whether it's 5 or 34. It's a lot less personalized. It doesn't as accurately identify, I think, the core strengths that you have as a person. So, yeah. I mean, I know I'm kind of understanding the purpose of this now, and I think people, I don't know, I've never thought of using the Strengths Finder assessment in missionary work, but the more that I think about the roles that I've had, both as a missionary in leadership positions and as an MTT teacher, like it just would be invaluable. And I think it would really offer them a framework to look at the way that they grow and learn. And I think that there would be ways and really direct kind of correlations and connections to the gospel framework of the doctrine of Christ, and how they can develop strengths and how they can change and grow and become more like Christ and better teachers and better instruments in God's hands. So I mean, if that's kind of what you're going for here, I think, yeah.
That was awesome.
Cool.
Thanks. I don't want to make